Hi folks, and welcome to the next video in the series of OpenIndiana. And what I'm going to do here is one of the optional things, which is a technique that will allow you to get a quick eyeball on how the system is performing. Well, not performing, but in terms of health and disk space sort of thing. Now, I'm actually on a Linux machine here, so we're going to SSH to the box because we can. And it's a simple SSH command with the username, which in our case is test, the @ symbol and the IP address. Now, if you're SSHing from Linux, it can take a while before the OpenIndiana box will ask you for the password. I think this is just down to a negotiation timeout thing or something like that, I don't know. But it'll take a while before it comes back. Talk amongst yourselves, blah de blah. Oh, there we go. So we're just going to put a password in, which is test this. Now we're going to switch into super user mode, which is SU. The password in our case is simply test this again. If we ask for who am I, you can see that we're root. Now we're going to CD into the root folder, and what I'm going to do is a number of things, but because some symbols don't appear very readily in the comments sections on videos, what I've done is I've got a web page on Technolife for you, and I'll put the link in on this. And this shows you roughly the commands of what we're going to do. We're going to go through this. I've already done it on this box, but the first thing you need to do is issue the package command to install Apache, which is pkg install Apache. And in our case, that installed Apache version 2.2. It does have a full AMP stack which is available to you, which is pkg install AMP. Once you've got that, well, you don't have to install the AMP, that's up to you, but after installing Apache, you've actually got to enable the Apache service, which is where you go svcadm for the service administrator, enable, and the package, in this case, is Apache 2. We then need to put two files in. One of which is called head.txt, and that consists of this text here. That text is basically what you would find at the head of a HTML file. And then there's another called foot.txt, which again is the footer. You'll notice that one of the important things is the pre and the /pre. That's what basically enables it to keep its spacing, fixed spacing. We're then going to put a line into the crontab, and that is here. The line, according to this timing, fires on the top of every hour. It's a 0 followed by 4 stars with spaces in between them, so that will fire this crontab line at the top of every hour. It gets the date command and echoes that out to mid.txt, which is in the root folder. Once it's done that, we have another command following it, which gives us a zpool status, and the double greater than symbols means append. So it takes the status from zpool and appends it to mid.txt. After that, we have another command, which is df space -h, two greater than symbols, root /mid.txt. So we're then getting a disk report in human readable format. Lastly, we take head.txt, mid.txt and foot.txt, and we compile those into one file called index.html, which is at /var/apache2 /2.2 /htdocs. That's what we're doing there. So we're basically taking the header file, putting the mid in between it, finishing off with a footer, and generating an HTML file. And that is going to be at the root of Apache 2 2.2 htdocs. Now, obviously, you're going to want to check the location of your Apache installation, just to make sure that it is at that location. What you'll get back at the end of it is something like this. As you can see, it's got the date output, which is the time and date, so you can see when this file was actually created. This is reporting UTC. It gives you the zpool report, and in our case we still only have the 2 drives in here, which are the mirrored system drives. Then it will give you, well, error, no known errors. You can notice that we have a scan report here when it was last resilvered. If we'd requested anything like a scrub, we should get the status of that as well. And lastly, we have the results of the DF-H, which I'll just move this up a bit, and you can see the results. It's giving us each of the mount points, which in our case are all from the same file system or sections of it, and it's telling us how much is there. rpool 1 73 gig, used 1.8, free 63, capacity 3%, because a section of it is used elsewhere. Where is it? Which is the one that's accurate? Oh well. Section of it is, I think that's due to the snapshotting that's gone on. We've actually got a couple of images on here now, so we have to sort that out. But as you can see, we now have a dead simple web page that we can call up, and any errors on the ZFS systems, we'd see them immediately. I typically also in the crontab put in for a scrub once a month on the systems. A few things to make you aware of. We are in root, and that's the text editor called Nano, which is quite a nice, simple, straightforward text editor. And if we ask for a nano on head.txt, you can basically see what we've got there. It's relatively simple. Cursor goes where it likes. You can type whatever you like, and it ends by some of the control options down here. Get help. Control X is to exit. Control O is to write out. Control R is to read file if you need to read it back in if you think you've got something wrong. In most cases, I'm just going to adjust something. In most cases, I just use Control X. That says save the modified buffer. We're just going to answer yes. File name to write. Sorry, you only have to type Y. You don't have to type the full yes. Just type Y and it'll ask you for the file name to write. We just want to overwrite the same file, so that's it, done. However, you probably want to look up crontab operation. I'll ask for a -L here, which will just give me a list of what's in the crontab, and you can pretty much see what's in there. I'm just going to try and move this up a bit, or shall I move the camera down a bit? I'll just move the camera down a bit, I think. Yep. Come on. Right, that's cool. And you can see that the operating system has a number of commands in here, which run at 10 past 3, quarter past 3 and half past 3. And this one's also got another restriction on there for an FS find. And there is our command that we've put in. To get this command in, you obviously have to run crontab -E. One of the awkward things is that this is actually going to start the Vi editor. Vi is a bit of a pain to get to grips with, but the long story short is when you've got it to where you want to, you can either press A to append, in which case it's now going to append at the end of the E. I'm just going to press escape to finish that, or you can press I to insert where you are, and it will now insert text there. You'll notice it's difficult to delete, so whoops, oh dear, I mucked that up. And you press escape when you're finished editing. When you're completely finished and you need to get out, you press the colon. Then it will take a command, and you can see the colon down in the bottom left. Now in this case, I'm just going to go Q exclamation mark, which will quit. Crontab file was not changed. Q exclamation mark means quit. Don't save, just quit. If I'd made a change and I wanted to save it, I would use colon WQ. That would write out and quit, so it would write any changes out. That's the basics of crontab. It takes a bit of getting used to. It really, really does. On the editing, I'll just go in there again and I'll edit something else harmless. I'll just insert a load of junk. If I wanted to delete that, the safest way is to just press escape, which will take the cursor back into an edit mode, take it to the start of where you want to delete, and use the del key to delete for the other way, rather than using the backspace as we're used to. And because we're in that mode, we can just write and quit, or in our case, quit with force. Yeah, it's definitely worth getting used to Vi, because it's pretty much the most common editor that's around there. Nano is pretty nice. I find it a lot easier to use that. But Vi is time tested. It's pretty much going to be the most common one that you will find. So it is it's worth spending the time to get used to it. Because if you're in a jam, Vi is probably the editor that you will find. So pretty much we've got our head and foot files, we've got our crontab installed, and that's pretty much it. I'm just going to actually execute that command. We are root, so we're going to copy that and run it in. Boom. And if we go back to our web page and do a refresh, you'll watch the time up here has now changed to UTC, or when I ran that command. So that's about it. It's a relatively straightforward, simple way. One last thing that I will say is, if we go to var, where are we going? Apache 2.2 HT docs. If we do a ls minus lat in there, you'll see that the files anyway are owned by root group bin, and they're set to read write for root and read only for everybody else. The fav icon, GIF and ICO were in there anyway. That came with the installation. But there was the index.html that we've just overwritten. That is about it. It's simple, straightforward. I even have that on my mobile phone, so when I call up a browser to go somewhere, I happen across that report as by default, really. Wherever you are, it's just easy to put it in as your home page on your browsers, so you can see what the system is doing. And there you go. Hope that you found this useful. Catch you later. Take care. Bye.